Good morning, class. Welcome back to this session of Modern Organization and Management. And in this session, we shall discuss regarding the module 2 of this subject, that is planning. And we had started discussing some of the things regarding planning. Continuing further with that, now, in one simple sentence, we can tell planning as a plan is a forecast for accomplishment. So, this particular one sentence encompasses it all. A planning is nothing but you think for future. You tell what has to be done. You forecast. You do it in advance. And this is being done for the purpose of achieving a objective. Now, this planning is always a predetermined course of planning is always a predetermined course of action. Now, planning is today's projection, or you think what has to be done or today for tomorrow's activity. Now, the management thinkers have defined planning in two different ways. They have defined it in terms of futurity or based on future or on the basis of it to be a thinking function. Now, management thinkers such as Allen, he has said that planning is a trap laid down to capture the future. Whereas Notes has said that planning is deciding in advance what is to be done in future. Whereas R.L. Eckhoff, he has said that planning is informed anticipation of future. Sorry, Heyman has said this, and Akoff has said that planning is anticipatory decision making. Now, all this definition considers one focal point that planning is something what you will have to do in future. It is done right now, but the activities are conducted in the future. And it is also done on the basis of thinking function. Now, according to Alford and Betty, planning is a thinking process, an organized foresight, a vision based on fact and experience that is required for intelligent action. Whereas Knoots and O'Donnell tell that planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do, when to do it, and who is to do it. So, when we go through this definition, it tells that it is a function wherein the thinking element is been involved. Now it is always deciding in present what is to be done in future. Now it is a process where you think before you do. Now a plan shall always be specific in nature. It shall be documented and it shall always consist of an objective and it shall always has an action statement. Now, having said this, we can try to discuss what are the features of planning or what are the characteristics of planning. Now, speaking about this, the first feature is that planning is goal oriented. That is to tell, any plan, it has or it shall always rise because of an objective. Now, these objectives are the ones which provide the basic guidelines for planning activity. Now, it goes without telling that planning will not have any meaning unless it contributes in some positive manner to the achievement of the goals that has been said or stated earlier. Now, the second feature is that planning is primary function. That is to tell, it is the foundation of management. Or, in other words, it is the parent function in the entire process of management. Or, it can also be said as the preface to business activities. Now, this idea of primacy of planning, it speaks of the fact that planning takes precedence over all other managerial function, like maybe organizing, directing, and controlling, because none of these functions can be started until there is some kind of plan regarding all these functions. The third feature of planning is that planning is all pervasive. That is to tell, it is a function of all managers. Now, this particular activity of planning, it has to be necessarily present and also practiced in all the different managerial levels. Now, this planning shall be one such activity in everything that a manager in an organization does. Now, manager will always have to plan before launching a business. They might also have to plan whenever things change. Or that is to tell that planning is the first function no matter what activity the organization or the manager does. But the one thing that can be noted is that the scope of planning shall differ at different levels and also between activities and department. Now, one more feature of planning is that it is a mental exercise. Now, this goes without telling because, yes, planning you do, planning is done, is one of the functions of management, but it shall always involve imagination. It should involve foresightedness of the manager and also a sound judgment from the side of manager. Now, it will always make a manager to abandon the guesswork and also wishful thinking. Now, it will always make a manager to think logically and in a systematic manner. Now, the plan shall always be based on a careful study of both the internal and external factors which influence business activities. Now, the one more feature of planning is that it is a continuous process. The first thing is planning is continuous, and also we should remember that it is also a never ending activity. Now, once a set of plans for a specific period or a specific activity are prepared, then they shall be translated into action. Now, by the end of that particular period or activity, now there shall always be a necessity for new plan which are to be made based on the new situations and conditions. Now, planning is, by these elements, is always an ongoing process of adjustment to the environment. Now, there shall always be a need for a new plan which has to be drawn on the basis of new demands and changes in this circumstances. Now, the next feature of planning is that it involves choice. Now, choice in terms of the different alternatives that are available in hand and the alternative that has to be fixed. Now, if it is that always there is only one way of doing things, then it will never call for planning. Now, there shall always arise the need for planning only when there are alternatives available. Now, planning by the virtue of its existence tells that there also does exist alternatives. Now, from out of all the different alternatives that are available, a manager would be selecting the best alternative after selecting and after doing a careful analysis and evaluation. Now, the next feature is that planning is always forward looking. Now, planning is always nothing but thinking of the future. It is to look ahead and also prepare yourself for the coming days or for the future. And also, not only prepare but also analyzing the future. Now, managers will always plan in the current situation so that they can flourish tomorrow. Now, without planning, business becomes what is called as random, and decisions that are being taken would be meaningless, and also there shall be ad hoc choices. Now, the next feature of planning tells that for planning to be better, it should always be flexible in nature. Or, in other words, planning is flexible. Now, because it is always based on future events, and one of the element of this future is that future events are always uncertain. Now, because of these elements, plans should always be reasonably flexible. Now, the one set of now, according to Noots and O'Donnell, effective planning requires continual checking on events and forecasts and the rewarding plans to maintain a course towards a designed goal. Now, the next feature of planning is that planning is an integrated process. That is to tell, plans are structured always in a logical way or in a systematic way where every lower level plan serves as a means to accomplish higher level plans. Now, all these plans, could it be higher level or lower level, they shall always be interdependent on one another. That is to tell, one cannot exist in the non existence of the other, and also they are mutually supportive. Okay. The next feature is that planning includes efficiency and also effectiveness dimension. That is to tell, a plan shall always have the objective of using resources both economically and efficiently. And by doing so, they also, all these plans, they try to accomplish what has been actually planned or actually targeted. Now the effectiveness of plants is all, usually dependent on how much it can contribute to the predetermined objectives. Now these are some of the features of planning. Now having said that, this particular list does not end here, and it is not compulsory that you will have to remember each one of this point by point. The main intention is that you understand what is planning. Now, when you have to write an answer, when you have to explain it, you can always do it in your words, provided that you are able to tell the idea of planning correctly. Now, moving forward, then we have here some of the questions that planning has. Now, we have discussed it time and again yeah, during when we discuss functions of management or in the introduction part of this lesson, that planning is always deciding in advance what to do, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, and who is to do it. Now, in telling that or in answering these questions, planning always bridges the gap from where we are to where we want to go. Now, in bridging this gap, it shall always answer the four questions. First one is, where are we now? Now, when this particular question is answered, we can get the answer, regarding, making a realistic assessment of the current situation and forecasting how things might change in the future. Now, the second question this planning has is, where do we want to be? That is to tell, if we know rightly what is the situation. Now, the next question has the answer to the fact that what is that we want to be tomorrow? Are we already in that place? Or is that something has to be achieved yet? That is the second question. Now, the third question is regarding gap. Now, in us answering what is the current situation, where we have to be tomorrow, if there are any difference, then this particular difference speaks of the gap. Now, for this gap, it is the bridge has to be built regarding how to get from this particular point to the another point where we have to reach. Now that is to tell, how can we get there from here? Having said this, we can move towards the steps that are involved in planning process. Now speaking about the steps that are involved in planning process, now it goes without telling that planning is always vital for managerial functions. Now, it is always based on thinking or it is intellectually demanding. Now, it shall always require a lot of time and also effort from the part of those people who are into this activity of planning. Now, to the ones who plan, it is always suggested that they should always adopt a system or a systematic approach so as to, it would be helpful for them to avoid any pitfalls or errors and some of the mistakes which can be very costly mistakes and which might entirely upset the entire business. And for doing so there are some of the steps that has been suggested. Now all these steps might helpful in the organize for the organization to come up with a very good plan. The first is to establishing objective. Okay. Now the first step in the planning process is always to determine or to identify or to put down the goals of the organization. Now these goals of the organization, it should always include both the internal as well as the external condition which are affecting the organization. And each of this must be, thoroughly examined or thoroughly analyzed or to see to that how does it affect before the organization sets objective. Now, once after it is analyzed, once after the organization comes up with set of objective, all these objectives that the organization frames, there must be one characteristic that they should clearly tell what is that the organization wants to achieve. Now, where does this all the activities takes place? Who are the people who have to do it? And those people, how is that they'll have to do it? And what is the time when they'll have to do it? In other words, it is nothing but in setting the objectives or establishing the objective, the managers provide a very clear cut guidelines for the efforts that are to be taken in the organization. And also, these directions or these guidelines are used so that all the activities that are being done in an organization can be kept on a right track. Okay, once after the organization established its objectives in a clear cut manner, the next step is to develop premises. Or, in other words, the organization has to outline the planning premises. Now, premises is nothing but now it is the assumption regarding the environment in which the plans are made and in which these plans shall be implemented. So, all these assumptions about the environment in which plans are made and which where it is implemented and how there shall be the impact of environment factors such as maybe demand for goods, maybe how shall be the cost of raw materials, what is the technology that has to be used, and what could be the possible government policy. All these effects can be taken into consideration. And plans should always be formulated by the management in such a way that it should always keep in the mind the fact that there are some of the constraints, or that there is some of the limitations which are imposed by both internal and external environment. From internally, maybe yes, you can do a very good plan, but in terms of the capital that is there in organization, that there shall always be a limitation. So to what extent the amount is available, you will have to plan. Now there can be limitation in terms of how much raw materials is available, how much human resources available, the market conditions. Or when you speak about external, maybe there is restriction on how much goods you can import. Each and every fact has to be kept in mind. And when we tell each and every fact, now each and every fact means that all those facts which can possibly affect the actions of the organization. Now, once after these two steps are done, that the organization establishes objectives, it develops the premises, then comes the most important fact, that is evaluating alternatives and selection. Now, this particular process by the name tells that for an organization, there shall always be different kinds or different alternatives available to reach one particular objective. Now, once after the first two steps are done, you shall always have in the hand the different alternative courses of action which are to be considered. Now, when we have different alternatives, the one thing that we'll have to see to that, we'll have to analyze all of these alternatives, and on the basis of analysis, we must be able to come to a point wherein we can decide among all these choices that the organization has, which one choice can be better off than the rest all other choices that the organization has. And therefore all the alternatives have to be carefully evaluated. Now, this evaluation could be on the elements like, cost, the risk that is involved, what is the benefit that the organization gets if they implement this particular course of action, both the pros and the cons, and along with the advantages and limitations, the consequences of each of the alternative must be kept in mind. Now consequences, or also to tell it in a simple way, the result, the limitations are to be understood, the advantages are to be understood, and the results. Now, based on all this analysis, the organization shall select one best among the choices that are available. Now, here we might face a question. Okay, if we somehow we select the one best possible way of doing things, and we implement it, what might be the possible thing that can happen if at all in the course of implementing, in the halfway through, this particular best alternative that the company has chosen breaks? Now what then? That might be the biggest question when we decide the best among the alternatives available. Therein, the fourth step comes what is called as formulating derivative plan. That is to tell, a organization though selects the best possible alternative, it has to always formulate the secondary plans. And here it also represents to the plans which support the basic plan. Now the plans derived for various departments, units, activities, etc. in a very detailed manner are known as derivative plan. Okay. In other words, putting derivative plan is nothing but in an organization, maybe the basic plan could be production. Now, this requires things such as availability of plant, that there is machinery, that there shall be employees who are trained to work in those machines. There should be adequate finance to bring these machines and human resource and the raw materials. Now, to make that these things are successful, or the basic plan is successful, the derivative plans, it should indicate the time schedule, the sequence of performing the different tasks, and the rest other elements of planning. And the next step in the planning process is securing cooperation and participation. Now, no matter how better the plan is being done, how well the rest of the conditions in which this plan are to be done is set up, for the successful implementation of plan, it shall always depend on a large extent on the cooperation and the wholehearted participation of the employees. And because of this element, management should always come up with operations, people in the planning activities, or operation in which the employees in the organization are involved. Now, it is said that always it could be the suggestions, the complaints, or the criticisms from the side of operating personnel will always help management to rectify the defects in the plans and set things right in the beginning itself. Now, the involvement of subordinates in planning has the always this unique advantage of getting a practical view of those, closer to the scene of operation. And the last step in the planning process is providing for follow up. Now, that is to tell, these plans are to be checked time and again. They have to be reviewed continuously to ensure that their relevance and their effectiveness. Now, in the course of implementing plans, certain facts may come to light that which might not have been considered at all in the beginning. Now, when such things are, counted, these plans have to be revised. Now, without such a regular follow up, there are chances that they may become out of date and useless. And such A step ensures the implementation of plans along right lines. And this also helps the management to notice shortcomings in time and initiate suitable steps. So these are some of the steps that are in, involved in planning process. Okay. So the next thing in planning is the approaches to planning. Now, the approaches to planning can be narrowed down to four different things, that is, top down approach, bottom up approach, composite approach, and team approach. Now, the way in which this has been categorized, it is based on the extent of participation from the employees, the authority delegation and competency level of managers, those who are working in different levels of organization. Now, the first one is top-down approach. Now, this happens most of the times in family-owned enterprise. Here, the authority and also the responsibility for planning is centralized at the top. That is, those who are in the top level management will be having the highest of the authority. They are the ones who, come up with the mission. They are the ones who lay down the strategies, the specific action plans that have to be achieved, the stated goals, and also they are the ones who come up with the blueprint. And later on, it is passed to the people working at lower levels who would be having very little to contribute to the process of planning. Now, this top down approach tells that the success of the approach is wholly dependent on the qualifications, experience, and also the capabilities of the people who are working at the top level. The second one that we have is bottom up approach. Now, this approach tells that thinking activity and doing activity, when it comes to planning, are two sides of the same coin. So it tells that if lower level of managers are taken into the activity of preparing and implementing of plan, then there are chances that their loyalty and commitment will also go up automatically. And the participation enables them to give their best to plan document. Then we have the third one, what is called as composite approach. Now, under this approach, what happens is that a middle path is selected so that it helps in the smooth implementation of the plan. Now, here the top management always offers guidelines. They are the people who come up with the boundaries, and also they are the people who encourage the middle and lower level executive to come out with different tentative plans. Now, once they come up with tentative plans, these are put into discussion and debate. Now, once these plans are approved, they can readily accepted, since everyone has been involved in this activity of drawing the objective of the organization or plan of the organization. The last one is that team approach. Now, this particular team approach, it is a slightly variation of composite approach. Now, here what happens is that now the job of planning is assigned to a team of the managers who are having requisite experience in various functional areas. Now, they prepare the draft plans. They also take internal as well as external factors into account. Now, the tentative plans are forwarded to the top management for approval. The expertise, experience, and capabilities of functional head is executed into action in such participative clients. So these are the four different approaches to planning. So in our today's class, we discussed regarding situational theory, modern management theory, and also we started with planning, the introduction part, what are the features of planning, the meaning of it, what are the four questions that planning has, the steps that is involved in the planning, and the approaches. If you have any doubt regarding any of the things that are being discussed, do let me know.